Today I thought I'd show you how I make some of my books. These are probably my favourite books when they're finished. They're a bit more, well, quite a lot of work, but they look, I really like them when they're finished. So I'm not going to give you any measurements. You can make your books to whatever size you want. I happen to be making mine this size. I get all of my papers, I hand tear them to the size I want, and then I fold them in half and then slot all of my pieces in to each other to make what's called a signature. In this particular signature I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and all of my signatures are made up of 6 sheets folded up. Okay, then what I do, I have a template that I have put 2 holes into. I wanted the holes to be evenly spaced, so what I did was folded my piece in half and then folded it in half again, and that gave me my crease lines to where I wanted the holes to be. Now I only have 2 holes when I'm bookbinding, because when I've watched lots of other tutorials, there are lots of lots of holes, lots of stitches. I really wanted to keep mine as simple as possible, so, well, as simple as you can anyway with bookbinding, and that's why I've only got 2 holes. Then I take just a skewer, just a kitchen skewer. Mine is actually covered in paint and stuff, I think, but that's what I use. You can use an awl, you can use any sharp pokey tool you've got. I like skewers because, well, they're sharp, but they've also given me quite a good size hole, and for these books this is quite tough paper that I'm using, and I'm going to be using quite tough string, so it works well with what I'm doing. And then I just make sure that everything's lined up nicely and pop my skewer into where the hole is and push nice and hard. Same again, push nice and hard. And I'll go through and do that in all of my signatures. I've already done that, so I've got all my, I think I've got 8 signatures here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, yeah. Got 8 signatures in this book, and that will make quite a good size book. Then what I tend to use, I'm using blue cotton string today, just so that you can see where I'm threading, just to make it easier for you. I would normally use white cotton string, but you can use whatever you like, whatever you've got. Most professionals use wax on their string. I don't, because the type of books that I'm using, like I say, the type of books that I make, this is pretty heavy duty paper that, you know, is capable of taking paint and things like that, so string's fine for what I want. But again, the rules are that you do whatever you like, whatever suits you best. Then I'm going to to get your length of string, I measure my string by the amount of signatures I've got. So I went through it 8 times like so, and then I gave myself a couple of extra lengths just so that I've got a little bit of play in there. Okay, so this is the tricky bit. I'm going to take my first signature and I'm going to pop my, the needle that I'm using is just a darning needle, actually, just a normal darning needle. I'm going to pop that through the first hole, bring it out through the middle, so I'm coming from the outside in. I'm just going to pull that through all the way, and then just leave myself a bit of a tail hanging out so that I've got something to tie at the end. And then I'm going to come back through the bottom hole and bring it all the way through. Okay, so then I'm going to take my next signature, the next one to it, find the middle of it, there it is, find the middle of it, and then come back through from the outside in the bottom hole and pull that through. Now this is where you really need to keep it as tight as you possibly can. So I'm just going to pull those, I don't want to pull that out too much. I'm going to pull those nice and tight, so they're tightly pulled together, and then through the top of the second signature, right, so nice and tight, pulling upwards, pull it upwards to avoid tearing your papers, and then back in through the top of the first one. Right, so I'm just going to make sure this is all nice and tight before I do any more. Pull that nice and tight. And then pull that nice and tight. Okay. So now we're in at the top of the first signature at the moment. We're going to come back out of the bottom of the first signature. And making sure, give it one more pull to make it sure it's nice and tight. Come out through the bottom, and this time we're going to miss the second signature. We've got that one joined together there, and we're going to go in through the bottom of the third signature. If I can get untangled. I'm going to go in through the bottom of the third signature. Okay. I'll pull that all the way through. Right, now again we want that nice and tight, so keep pulling nice and tight. And then we're going to come out through the top of the third signature. Now before I stitch this in, I just want to make sure I've got it all lovely and tight. Because once you get going, it's hard to tighten it back up again. So you're just really trying to keep that as tight as possible. And now we're going to go in through the top of the second signature. Okay. It's a bit fiddly when you've got a long string, but gradually that string will get shorter and shorter. So, okay, mine's loosened up a bit, so I'm just going to pull that tight there and pull it nice and tight. It's really important to keep it tight. I'm happy with that. Keep that nice and tight, and then back through the bottom. I hope this is making sense. Okay, nice and tight. So now I think we're starting to cook with gas. We're getting there. So in through the bottom of the 4th signature. Ooh. Okay, nice and tight. In through the top, out through the top, sorry, of the top of the 4th one. And back in through the top of the 3rd one. So I'm not going to make you sit through me doing the whole book, but you get the gist of it. I'll probably speed it up so that you can see it and fast forward.